All right, day number 16, and I'm starting to feel my dreams. Sorry, sometimes I just feel like I gotta make a rhyme. I just gotta put a rhyme out there. So day number 16 of Sober September. If you're new here, I have not been sober all of these days. I think 3 of those days at this point, I was not sober. One of those was last night. Had some comments relative to that. And one of them was like, "No, man, you didn't do it." And I think they said, "Your reasons were whack." I'm like, you got a point. You got a real fine point. But what I'm realizing today, I'm in a much better mood today, is that I'm going through a process, and part of my process is, and this may get woo woo for some of you, or too woo woo for some of you, but it's the spiritual awakening and learning how to align my consciousness with the universal energy that is throughout the universe. And when you're going through those types of processes, when you're, waking up and you're growing, your soul is growing, you're growing as a human, however you want to look at it, even if you don't look at the woo-woo shit. When you're going through growth, sometimes there's storms, and it's common to have storms during that process, and it's not a bad thing. It's just a sign of growth. It's part of growth, having to push through those times. And I'm not beating myself up about the setbacks that I had, because I realize it's just part of the process. So unfortunately, due to the drinking last night, this morning, I had a little bit of car trouble yesterday, and I wasn't certain what it was. I had a little bit of car trouble, and I wasn't certain what it was. So I did wake up at a normal time, but I was feeling kind of groggy because I drank yesterday. And then it hit me in my mind, like, wait a minute, you had some car trouble yesterday. You probably shouldn't be driving that over to where you normally drive it to. You need to check things first, and it's too dark outside to check things. That's the excuse I told myself. I think because I was going to check my oil and see if it was relative to that, which I didn't think it was, but I was like, let me check that anyway. Blech. So I told myself, you don't got to get up right now, So I set my alarm for. I changed it. Normally I'm not even using an alarm, but I knew I set one yesterday. I changed it for way later, and then I woke up again as the sun was rising, and I was laying there, and I was like thinking about going to sleep, and I heard this this noise that was different. I can't describe it right now, but in that moment, like, I told myself, like, I think that's like a nudge from the universe, like, get the fuck out of bed and go do your process, But even so, I fought it, and I laid there. I was like, nah, that's not what it is. And I'm just like laying there, but I wasn't seeming to be able to go back to sleep. Like, it was like the building thought of like, I need to go. The building thought of like, it's time to go do my morning ritual. So I got up, and I made it over to. I checked out. My oil seemed fine. Car was fine. Didn't have a problem. Made it over to the pier. And I got over there at like 7:20, so basically an hour later than normal. But I still did my meditation, which is good. That was my first thing. That's my go-to thing every morning, and now it is anyway. So I did my meditation, then I went out to the pier, and I just let the wind blow and just like lost myself in the moment, kind of recentered my energy. And then I went to go check my alternator, make sure it was good. I ended up not walking this morning, but I feel like almost if I'm gonna skip one thing, skip the walk, do the meditation. Wasn't that I wanted to skip the walk, but I had shit that I had to do before my first call for work, like go to the store and check my alternator. Alternator's fine, everything seems good. I guess my car's fine. I don't know. It could have been the issue happened when I went to go get beer yesterday. And when I'm pulling out of the gas station, the car just like lost power, and the battery light came on. And then it came back, and I pulled out on the road, then it did it again. I'm like, oh fuck. And the first thought was like, that's the universe slapping me in the face, like, get your shit together. In any event, I came back and began my work day, and I was keeping myself in a better mood than normal. And something I did different today, was with lunch, instead of like turning on my TV and watching like some Netflix for lunch or whatever and sitting in my comfy couch, which normally leads to like kind of like more of a groggy laziness after I get done eating lunch. I ate lunch here at my desk while I was watching some Abraham Hicks videos. If you don't know who she is, check her out. Some people like her, some people don't. But I think one thing that's common with people that know of her, if they are in tune with the spiritual world, is that her message overall is like consistent with a lot of people in the spiritual world. Like it's good stuff, and she's good at talking. So whatever, it made me feel good. And a lot of what I was watching today was centered around, you know, we can really have anything in this world that we want, but 9 times out of 10 we're blocking that energy because we're so caught up in our ways. We're so caught up with the monkey mind and allowing things to affect us throughout the day, allowing our mindset to be reactionary to life as opposed to causing something with our mindset. Being consistent with making sure that our mind state stays in a good place is very important, but it's so easy to let it go. I mean, that's what I've been doing. Like I said, like my mornings have been great, but then when I get into my day, I allow my day to fuck with my head. But I did a lot better today, and I attribute a big portion of that to during lunch, you know, checking in some Abraham Hicks videos. And it's funny because I pulled up YouTube. I was going to look for something in the realm of like meditation or meditation discussion. I wasn't going to meditate while I was eating, but I was just wanting to look for something to watch while I was eating lunch that was more in the direction of where I'm trying to go versus just some mindless shit on the TV, right? And when I opened it up, I saw Abraham Hicks and without even searching anything. And I've looked at her stuff before, but I feel like now where I'm at, I'm ready to listen to this stuff. So I clicked it, and I just couldn't click away. And I was waiting on a Zoom call that I wasn't certain when it was going to happen. So even when I was done eating my salad, like I just kept watching. I think I watched through like 3 or 4 of them, and they're all, 10 minutes long, something like that. But it made me feel so much better. Like yeah, that's the key, is just like working on my mindset. Like regardless of what's going on with my work, any troubles I have during the day, dropping like, when you fucking like make your food and then you spill some sauce on, like, God damn it, now I got to clean that up. Like all these things, it's like, I feel like I bring a lot of that on myself. But today was a lot better, and I'm actually getting kind of chills talking about this shit. And I don't know if you can relate or not, but like whenever I feel like I'm really tapping in to a spiritual sense, I get those chills like throughout your body. Not bad chills, it's like the tinglies, the pricklies. So in any event, I ended up having a Zoom call later in the day that kind of like, I wouldn't say frustrated me, but it was like, it was kind of fast paced, and I was trying to like pick up stuff and like learn, but it was so fast paced that it was hard for me to learn the shit really and digest it. I mean, it was still helpful to go through the process, but it just felt like kind of like a rushed scenario, and I think that like kicked up my anxiety a little bit. So that was the only time during the day that I felt like not on the progressive track forward. And it's just like anything else. The more we do these things, the more we practice whatever it is, the better we get at it, and the more benefit comes from it, right? And this is just from like one day of being conscious throughout the day of where my mind is, and like how my emotions are doing, and how I'm viewing things, and trying to be positive and stuff like that. And I put all these notes up from this thing on my desk here. Like I put one that says I'm on the right path. So it's like when I'm like scattered, I look at that, it's like I'm on the right path. I'm on the right path. I feel better because I'm on the right path. I'm not worried about it, And regardless of what happens, like if I'm going out, I was thinking about the car breaking down, right? Like, and I used to be driving, well, fuck, I'm just going to drive somewhere, it's going to break down, and now I'm going to be in this situation, this like that. It's like, what's the point in feeling that way? If it breaks down, it breaks down. And that's a new experience. And we learn from all of our experiences, especially the tough ones, especially the failures, especially the shit shows, the problems. We learn from all these things. Life happens for us, not to us. And I think the more that I believe in this stuff and the more that I practice it, the better I feel. And if nothing else, I want to feel good. So that's kind of the update for today, and I feel confident that I'm going to keep practicing these things. I'm even going to implement another point of meditation throughout the day. I may get to doing 3 meditations a day, but I'm going to start with doing 2. I may get to it today. It's been kind of busy, but I'm definitely going to incorporate that probably starting tomorrow. I'm definitely not going to miss the one in the morning. I'm going to keep practicing that. And one thing that I've also learned is that it's best to pick one guided meditation and do it generally at the same time every day, preferably in the morning or before you go to bed, and keep doing that same one. Even though you're hearing the same thing and you're going through the same motions, that's the best way to break in, as opposed to, let me listen to this guided meditation today. Oh, I'm going to try this one. Oh, I'm going to try this one. So I have the one that I'm doing in the morning, and I'm toying between doing a second one right behind that or doing one right around lunchtime, which I think is the best for me, because that's typically when my mood is like kind of shifty for whatever reason. And whatever that's going to be, it's going to be the same one every time, you know? In any event, I say all this shit to illustrate kind of where my mind's at, and if I wasn't looking at stuff this way, there's a good chance that I would be thinking about drinking again, but I'm not thinking about drinking today. I'm actually just really excited about the progress of my mind state right now. So I'm just going to keep doing it, man. You understand? I'm just going to keep doing it, bruh. Anyhow, if you've held on this long, kudos to you, because I'm definitely getting off the script of what I normally talk about and what I normally focus on, but this is the direction of my channel. And if you've been a subscriber for a long time and you've listened to a lot of the shit I've said, I've always said that this is the direction that I'm going to go with my channel, is finding happiness through getting in touch, tapped in, you know, tuned in, turned on, like connected to the energy of the universe, and embracing it and learning how to control my mind, because that's the most important thing, in my opinion. I think that everybody can free themselves from whatever anguish they're going through mentally by doing these things. And there's even proof out there that these types of actions can help improve physical issues, like fucking diseases and other shit. Like, so anyhow, what's the harm in trying? What's the harm in diving in and giving it a full shot? And, you know, and so far I'm doing pretty good with it. It's cool because I've been talking about this shit for a long time, but I'm finally implementing it. And I do have my buddy Jack from Atlanta to thank for that. So thank you, Jack. You've definitely helped out a lot, being a good influence there. And then also my buddy Ryan, who's in Tampa. Jack's in Atlanta and Ryan's in Tampa. So it's nice to have a couple people to talk to about that sort of thing and growth. So yeah, that's where we're at. I hope you can see a difference in how I feel today versus yesterday. I know I do, and I'm excited to report back tomorrow. So until then, you guys have a good night.
Trust you white in me again. Trust you white. You'll be sorry, but your tears will be too